Air is all around us, and we need it to live. Every single day, we take many breaths without even thinking about it. We breathe in when we wake up, when we walk to school or work, and even when we are sleeping at night. This air goes into our lungs and gives our bodies the oxygen we need to have energy and stay healthy. It is a very important part of our lives, just like water and food. Clean air helps us feel good and keeps our bodies working the right way. We often believe the air we breathe is safe, but that is not always true in many places around the world today. But what happens when the air is not clean? Air pollution happens when there are bad things in the air. These things can be tiny pieces of dust, smoke from cars and factories, or other harmful chemicals. We cannot always see them, but they are there. When we breathe in this dirty air, these small dangerous particles go deep into our lungs. This can make us feel sick. It can make it hard to breathe, cause us to cough, and make our eyes and throats feel sore. For our bodies to be strong and healthy, we need clean air, not air that is filled with pollution from our cities and industries. The health problems from air pollution are very serious. Breathing dirty air for a long time can lead to bigger health issues. It can cause problems with our hearts and our lungs that do not go away. Imagine your body having to fight off these tiny invaders with every single breath you take. Over many years, this can make the body weak and lead to illnesses that are very difficult to treat. This is why doctors and scientists are so worried about the quality of the air we breathe. They know that clean air is not just nice to have. It is something everyone needs for a long and healthy life. Thinking about air pollution is important for everyone, no matter where you live. While some cities have much dirtier air than others, pollution can travel long distances with the wind. The health of our planet and the health of our own bodies are connected to the air. We must understand what makes the air dirty, so we can start to find ways to make it clean again. This is a problem that affects all of us, from the youngest child to the oldest person. The first step is to learn just how serious this problem has become for people all over the world, especially in our biggest and busiest cities. To help us understand how bad air pollution is, scientists have come up with a simple comparison. They say that breathing very polluted air can be just as bad for our bodies as smoking cigarettes. This might sound surprising, but the idea is based on the harmful things found in both cigarette smoke and polluted air. Cigarettes are full of dangerous chemicals that hurt our lungs when people smoke them. In a similar way, the air in many big cities is filled with tiny, harmful particles called PM 2.5. These particles are so small that they can get deep inside our lungs and cause serious damage over time. The way scientists figure this out is quite simple. They use a rule from a research group called Berkeley Earth. They have calculated that breathing air with a certain amount of these tiny PM 2.5 particles every day is the same as smoking 1 cigarette per day. The number they use is 22 micrograms of PM 2.5 in a cubic meter of air. So if the air in your city has an average of 22 micrograms of these particles, it is like you are smoking 1 cigarette every single day, even if you have never touched one in your life. This gives us a clear and powerful way to see the hidden danger in the air. This cigarette equivalent helps us see the real risk. When you hear that the air quality is poor, it might not sound very alarming. But if someone told you that just by living in your city, you are smoking 5 or 10 cigarettes every day, you would probably be very worried. This comparison makes the invisible threat of air pollution visible. It turns a scientific number into something we can all understand. The damage might be slow and happen over many years, but it is real. It shows that we are breathing in something that is actively harming our bodies with every breath we take. So when we talk about air pollution, we are not just talking about dusty air or a bad smell. We are talking about a serious health risk that works in a way that is very similar to smoking. Both smoking and breathing polluted air can lead to heart disease, lung cancer, and other terrible illnesses. This is why it is so important to pay attention to air quality reports. Understanding this connection helps us see why we need to take action. The air we breathe should give us life, not make us sick in the same way that smoking does. It is a choice for the health of everyone. Some cities around the world have very high levels of air pollution. Based on research from 2024, the city of Delhi in India has some of the dirtiest air. The pollution is so bad that living there is like smoking about 1,797 cigarettes every year. That is almost 5 cigarettes every single day. Imagine the damage that does to a person's lungs over many months and years. The air in Delhi is often thick with a gray haze. and people can feel the pollution when they breathe. This is a very serious problem for the millions of people who call the city home and have no choice but to breathe this dangerous air. Another city with extremely polluted air is Lahore in Pakistan. The situation there is also very alarming. Scientists have calculated that living in Lahore is like smoking 1,694 cigarettes per year. This number is very close to Delhi's, showing that this is a major regional problem. Pakistan has many other cities with dangerously high pollution levels. For example, in cities like Dera Ismail Khan and Multan, people are breathing air that is equal to smoking over 1,500 cigarettes a year. This means millions of people are facing a constant threat to their health simply by living their daily lives in these places. In Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, the story is similar. The air quality is so poor that it is like smoking 1,294 cigarettes a year. That is more than 3 cigarettes every day for every person living in the city. Other cities with very high pollution include N'Djamena in Chad, which is like smoking 1,523 cigarettes a year. Even cities like Jakarta in Indonesia and Hanoi in Vietnam have pollution levels that are equal to smoking hundreds of cigarettes annually. These numbers show that this is not just a problem in 1 or 2 places. It is a global crisis affecting people in many different countries across Asia and Africa. This is a huge problem because it affects everyone, whether they choose to smoke or not. People are smoking just by going outside, playing in a park, or walking to the market. This is especially dangerous for children because their bodies are still growing. Old people are also at a higher risk because their bodies are not as strong. The damage from this forced smoking can lead to a lifetime of health problems. The numbers are shocking, but they help us understand the real human cost of air pollution in the world's most polluted cities. It is a silent health emergency that we can no longer ignore. It is very important that we all care about air pollution. This is not a problem for only a few cities or countries. It is a problem for the whole world. The air connects us all, and pollution can travel from one place to another. The health of our families and our communities depends on the air we breathe. When the air is dirty, it makes people sick, especially the most vulnerable among us. Children who breathe polluted air can develop asthma or have lungs that do not grow properly. Older people can suffer from heart attacks or strokes caused by bad air. We have a shared responsibility to protect them. We must act now because the problem is getting worse in many parts of the world. As more people move to cities and as industries grow, more pollution is being released into the air. If we do nothing, the number of cigarettes people are forced to smoke every day will only go up. This means more people will get sick and more lives will be cut short. We cannot afford to wait. We need to think about the future we are creating for our children. Do we want them to grow up in a world where the air itself is a danger to their health? The choice is ours to make. The good news is that we can all do something to help. Even small actions can make a big difference when many people do them together. We can try to use cars less and walk, bike, or use public transport more often. We can also save energy at home by turning off lights and electronics when we are not using them. Supporting leaders and companies that want to use clean energy like solar and wind power is also very important. Planting trees is another great way to help, because trees are natural air filters. They absorb bad things from the air and release clean oxygen for us to breathe. Ultimately, making our air clean again is a sign that we care about each other and our planet. It is about building a healthier and safer future for everyone. By understanding how serious the problem is, by thinking about the cigarettes we are all smoking, we can find the motivation to change. We must demand cleaner air for our communities and work together to make it happen. Clean air is not a luxury, it is a basic human right. Let's all work together to clear the air so that everyone, everywhere can take a deep breath without fear and